Today we're going to study Exodus chapter 29, part 1. But before we start reading, I'd like to recap from last week the priest garment. It contains 6 parts. One part is a tunic, like a long white t-shirt, and a robe, which is dark blue to the knees. An ephod is an apron to hold everything together. Breastplate. It has pockets and stones on it. The sash is a girdle or belt, and the turban on the head is, of course, a headpiece. So in this chapter, Moses is going to sanctify the priest for service. And in Hebrew, the word service means, in many ways, worship. And this is all happening while the children of Israel are still at Mount Sinai. Now God is wanting to see the desired change in the children of Israel. Their hearts are not pleasing to God. They're not worshiping God properly. And He is doing this to teach them how to worship. So I'm going to start reading verse 1 to 3. Please read with me or just listen. And this is what you shall do to them to hallow them for ministering to me as priests. Take 1 young bull and 2 rams without blemish, and unleavened bread, unleavened cakes mixed with oil, and unleavened wafers anointed with oil. You shall make them of wheat flour. You shall put them on 1 basket, and bring them in the basket with the bull and the 2 rams. So when it says in verse 1, take 1 young bull and 2 rams without blemish, in the Hebrew Bible that means they are perfect. We are going to continue reading in verse 4. And Aaron and his sons you shall bring to the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and you shall wash them with water. Then you shall take the garments, put the tunic on Aaron, and the robe of the ephod and the breastplate, and gird him with the intricately woven band of the ephod. You shall put the turban on his head, and put the holy crown on the turban. And you shall take the anointing oil, pour it on his head, and anoint him. Then you shall bring his sons, and put tunics on them, and you shall gird them with sashes, Aaron and his sons. And put the hats on them. The priesthood shall be theirs for a perpetual statute. You shall consecrate Aaron and his sons. Now the washing is for immersion, for preparation for worship. And the ephod is to hold everything together for its purpose. And the headdress is to be set apart for a purpose of serving. Aaron's sons have more of a hat and not a turban. And the priestly garments don't have an ephod. They have a tunic like a cloak. So Moses is granting them authority and putting them in place. And Moses is inaugurating them as priests. And now we're going to continue reading in verse 10. You shall also have the bull brought before the tabernacle of meeting, and Aaron and his sons shall put their hands on the head of the bull. Then you shall kill the bull before the Lord by the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Now everyone, this is a ritualistic slaughter. Verse 12, you shall take some of the blood of the bull and put it on the horns of the altar with your finger, and pour all the blood beside the base of the altar. And you shall take all the fat that covers the entrails, the fatty lobe attached to the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them, and burn them on the altar. But the flesh of the bull, with its skin and its offal, you shall burn with fire outside the camp. It is a sin offering. You shall also take 1 ram, and Aaron and his sons shall put their hands on the head of the ram. And you shall kill the ram, and you shall take its blood and sprinkle it all around the altar. Then you shall cut the ram in pieces, wash its entrails and its legs, and put them with its pieces and with its head. And you shall burn the whole ram on the altar. It is a burnt offering to the Lord. It is a sweet aroma, an offering made by fire to the Lord. So what is very interesting is in the book of Hebrews, as we compare this sin offering with the Messiah suffered outside the camp, and his sin offering mediated life. So one gave life in order to have life. Now all this is being done to fulfill the inauguration of the priests. Verse 19, you shall also take the other ram, and Aaron and his sons shall put their hands on the head of the ram. Then you shall kill the ram and take some of its blood and put it on the tip of the right ear of Aaron and on the tip of the right ear of his sons, on the thumb of their right hand and on the big toe of their right foot, and sprinkle the blood all around on the altar. And you shall take some of the blood that is on the altar and some of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it on Aaron and on his garments, on his sons and on the garments of his sons with him. And he and his garment shall be hallowed, and his sons' garments with him. Also you shall take the fat of the ram, the fat tail, the fat that covers the entrails, the fatty lobe attached to the liver, the 2 kidneys, and the fat on them, the right thigh, for it is a ram of consecration. The instructions of God will bring revelation. Sanctification brings holiness, which has a purpose. Now we're going to continue next time in verse 23. Thank you all for joining me today, and God bless you all until the next time.